Starburns Audio.
Thank you for listening to the Starburns Audio Podcast Network. We have so many great comedy shows to add to your playlist. Just last week on Starburns Audio, on the Season 2 premiere of Humans Who Make Games, Adam Conover talks to comedian Ron Funches and Jean Goudon, creative director of the Assassin's Creed series. On Boogie Monster, Kyle Kinane and Dave Stone share a perfect recipe for the quarantined cook. This week on Profiles and Eccentricity, they cover the history of the Coruscant Unity cult, folks for whom a flat earth is ridiculous because they believe it's really a concave shell. Search Starburns Audio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any podcast platform for our full list of shows, featuring hosts like Joe Coy, Amanda Seals, Jessica Chobot, and Jackie Johnson. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Starburns Audio. Enjoy the show. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep laughing.
Dan and Ren and Jay will share tales of folks so unaware they lack in grace and sometimes choose the life they choose will make the news. Breaking down each epic fail in Florida, there's half-price bail. I'm happy to say they couldn't make this up. So listen to our podcast jam with co-host Arm and Dan. Members, don't be a jerk, cause when the music hits, the funny hits, and we are gonna take you down. Stick around. Make a sound, hunker down, it's Dumb People Town.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dumb People Town. Thank you for everyone who's joined our show.
It's gaining ground.
We're gaining ground on the Republicans?
No.
I don't know who we're gaining ground on.
On the Libertarians. We're going to overtake them for the next...
Look, we want government our way, and that's what this podcast is all about.
Shit.
Sorry, Dan. Are you out?
I don't know.
You didn't realize.
Think about it.
Hi, Dan Van Kirk.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Nice
Sorry, I was
see you.
mid-sip.
Mid-sip. Well, this is Dumb People Town. For those who don't know, we take the stupid behavior of stupid people and break it down with our funny friends, and that is what we do. And
today we have people who are experts at breaking down insane behavior, usually or always ends in a murder. They are, look, part of me wants you guys to break down Making a Murder. I don't know if you've done that yet. I'm sorry if I've missed that episode, and call it my favorite Making a Murder.
That's good.
Well, your podcast is a ridiculous juggernaut, and it could not happen to better people. I mean, isn't that...
Thanks.
Yeah.
My favorite murder, which is, you think it could happen to better people?
I like myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'd love it to happen to us.
Dan, not now.
I'm actually in love with your show. I love your show.
For real?
Yeah. When you guys... when you're starting episodes by questioning the effect this show will have on your own mortality is one of my favorite things. And
Amazing.
Karen, when you are describing one of your favorite murders, and Georgia, you are constantly saying, "Oh shit, oh shit."
It's always a shock.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, she ripped
shit.
the entrails completely out.
Cut from the nose down to the vagina.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Hold on a second.
Because that's always like 11 minutes away from you going, I just got my nails done.
Yes,
I don't do my nails normally, and I'm now on this show.
It feels good I'm on the latest episode where someone teases my hair for like an hour.
Anyway, rape and murder. Yeah.
Episode 1, for anybody, I don't know how you like podcasts and haven't already listened to this show, but episode 1, Karen, when you are describing was it the Bay Area, the original Night Stalker?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you're talking about the town hall meeting and the guy who says, George is already, and the guy who's like, there's no way a man would allow his wife to be raped.
Oh, yeah.
And you are freaking out, Georgia, and you're waiting to tell her that guy who said that ends up getting it next.
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't they do, put plates on his back or something like that?
That was one of his MOs was, he would do that. He would say, if I hear these plates clatter, then I will kill your wife, while he takes her out of the room to go rape her in the front room.
Terrible.
So intense. Yeah.
Well, it's weird. And I mean, I am curious about this because your podcast is so deservedly popular, but I think it taps into something that we all either don't want to admit to people that we're into or that we like, or we just want to hear you guys because you're so affable and I love listening to you guys. I could listen to you talk about cooking or anything. And then
It's
just
like
so
a
happens-
slumber party that's like, hey, in the middle of the slumber
You
party.
guys want to hear a ghost story? I mean, that's what it feels like. It feels like this really like calm entry point into some macabre stuff. And have found myself going like, yeah, I want to go down. I'll go down YouTube like rabbit holes and watch all the news coverage of some crazy stuff. And I'm like, what is it in me that is like dying to hear these crazy?
What do you guys think it is?
I mean, I feel like say Forensic Files has been on TV for 30 years,
Yes.
or 2020, or any of those shows.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing this isn't new. It's just kind of coming to the entertainment fore right now, but people have been into it for a long time. So I think it's just that thing of, for me anyway, it's like, here's worst case scenario. You can go and look at it and find out all the details about it and touch it and leave. I think that's the key.
I think for me, it acknowledges the fact that I have so much anxiety over these things, and I'm like, see, I'm not fucking crazy.
Yeah.
These things happen.
Totally.
Yeah, to me.
And I think you guys handle it in a way that like people treat this stuff so seriously on every level. And it's not that you guys aren't taking it seriously, because your reaction to it is as serious as
real.
it gets. But you also handle it in a like, what can we do? What else can we do? We're comedians and we make fun of stuff, and we gotta just do what we do. And if a funny thing comes up, you allow yourselves to handle it in a way that is in some ways light. You're handling the most dark stuff
Lightly.
in a light way.
Which kind of like, I think, is the comedian's way of doing that contrast, where like most other true crime podcasts are like somber and serious, and there's like that soundtrack underneath where it's like,
And they're narrative. There's no personal opinion in them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like
you
they're
guys
not
don't
saying like these people need replacement kids. They're not.
they're not.
putting that out there
as
as
a
an
jumping
option.
off, but as a jumping off point for a bit, for like a
Yeah.
whole idea.
It's like concepts we didn't realize, like opinions we didn't know we had until we start telling each other, just like, yeah, these are the kind of stories where you go, why would anyone ever have children when you know things like this happen in the world?
Yeah.
You know.
Or like, why are you talking to, like, why? There's no reason an older dude would ask a child directions. Like, clearly you're a murderer, you know?
Don't ever. That's what I say to my kids. If anybody asks you anything,
Yeah.
you run,
That's right.
disappear, run,
Yeah.
run into
And
different.
run
Right into their car.
No, Dan, that's not. No, Dan,
You're not a parent.
no, Dan. Well,
Children know the best directions.
Yes.
So
yes.
they really do.
help
They're
them.
like little Google Maps. They
are.
That's what I
My
consider my
son's
kids.
name is Waze. Created by an Israeli.
I just know Jay and I listened to together, which was actually really fun to listen to it together. You guys live at the Orpheum here in LA. Amazing. So
Night of the frickin' March.
I know.
Jesus.
So crazy.
Karen, so our first ever interaction with you was when we were doing Apartment 2F, and you didn't even know this, but like they did a showcase for people to do stand up on our show, and you were one of the stand ups.
You did like a little showcase in
in
the
LA
Improv.
at the Improv, and it was you and PFT and Paul
Patton.
Tompkins and Patton and all these other people did this thing, and you were one of our favorite. Jay and I are like watching all these people that we didn't know because it was 97 and we're in New York, and there just wasn't a lot of sharing back and forth. We're like, she's so funny, she's so great, and you were part of this like. I don't know if we were able to get you on the show or not. I don't think we did.
I don't think so.
We didn't.
Well, no, because
if I
everyone
knew-
we loved, everyone
said
was
no,
great,
thanks.
but everyone we pushed forward the most, they said no.
Also,
Yeah, you
if
and
I
Paul.
knew it was an audition, then I would have done terribly.
Right.
Like
I don't
the
think you knew.
second I knew that, I would
But you
just
were
been
so
like,
funny.
You were so funny. But if I would have told you at that point, and because you've been in LA for so long, you're going to do a show at the Orpheum in Los Angeles, and 2,000 fucking people are going to show up. You would have been like, no way. If I would have told you 5-8 years ago you were gonna do a show, and you've been in the business, you've written things, you've performed, you've been in music groups as well as comedy stuff. I mean, I'll never forget the time you performed on the very first Largo show after 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
And that was
Yeah.
some of the bravest, most amazing, and you just did everything that you could to just, again, hold it together. And there's some link to this show and that, in that you were kind of talking about this macabre thing that happened, but you were really making fun of the coverage and the crawl and all that other stuff that was going, everything around it. And I was just like, that's amazing. But the idea that you guys could sell that thing out, it's just incredible to me. And you just don't know how it's going to come. So you must be enjoying that right now.
I was joking that like the first night we met at a party, if I had come up to her randomly like, hey, do you want to have a murder podcast with me? You would have like been like, who the fuck is this girl?
How did it happen? I mean, how did it really come together?
It was kind of exactly like that, except for she didn't say, do you want to have a murder podcast? But it was essentially we're hanging around the same people and we would see each other at the same parties. And I have a thing where I just don't like small talk that much, or I'm not that interested in like talking about TV shows or whatever. So I really love it, like, especially because I don't drink. So it's that kind of the way I party is like having an actual conversation or getting right to it.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know about deaths in your family. I want to know about terrible scars on your body. Like that's going to make it a party for me.
Yeah.
I started telling this horrible story because I was in South by Southwest and I was on the street. I was standing on the street. You might remember this, but it was like now 3 years ago at South by Southwest, there was that terrible car accident where a guy it was a high-speed chase. He turned up a blocked-off street and just plowed up like 30 people. I had been standing in the back of that line like literally 2 minutes before he turned up that street. So I was moments away from being the first person hit by that car.
Why'd you leave?
Because I was...
Andy? You were with Andy, right?
I was with...
Andy Peters?
Andy Peters, that's right.
Yeah.
I was with Andy Peters and...
Great. Hey, Andy Peters. Great.
You know what, guys? Let's not stand here. Let's go over here.
Maybe there's some other streets where some cars will come up and kill people.
You would be surprised. Andy Peters turned into a total dad. He grabbed both me and I'm so sorry because
Chevy
this second we love to party together.
Eddie Murphy.
He basically grabbed us and was like, "Do not look at the street. Do not
Griffin.
look up." And
That's so sweet.
he walked us out. Because it was
Massacre.
it was really bad and horrible. But it was basically my snobbery of I don't want to have to stand in line. So I had walked out of the line to go, don't we have passes or aren't we special somehow that we could get into this X show without standing here? Anyway, I thought that was a good story to tell in the middle of a Halloween party where a lot of people had just smoked pot.
I don't disagree. I literally don't disagree.
A lot of comedians there?
A lot of comedians.
Okay, well, then they would have been
People you'd think would love that hideous, gruesome story. And I truly watched people, like the blood drain out of their face.
You watched their smile fade. Man.
Yes, they were bumming. And then this one, like from two people back, was like, "Wait, what?" And like for a second, I was like, "Oh, why don't I understand social cues that I should not have told that story?" And Georgia came like out of the blue of like, "Tell me every single thing that happened to you." And I was like,
Start from the beginning.
When we film
friend.
this for the movie version of this that happens, it's going to be a push in, pull out,
Yes.
pull the dolly out,
Rack
push
focus.
the rack focus right in on her as it just goes
What were you
in.
dressed? You were dressed as like something in your own clothes.
I was dressed as a nurse.
Yes.
It was a Halloween party, and it was Matt McCarthy's Halloween party, and the invitation was like, you have to wear a costume. So I went to CVS and just bought some scrubs, because I was like,
Oh, yeah.
everybody looks good in scrubs, and I can wear my clogs, and everything's fine. And none of my friends, except for you, were dressed up, but no one I knew at the party dressed up. So I was like, this is so embarrassing. So I was
You were
dressed
comfortable though.
Yeah, that's right.
I had on in the movie. I had version. I'll have to be dressed as Glenn Danzig with like the fucking what's it called? Devil. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
God
Glenn-
bless whoever has to.
Does Danzig call his mom on Mother's Day and just sing that?
Yeah, that's what happened.
But you guys, I love that. I love that you guys.
And then
found
you
each
were
other.
interested, and then it just sort of developed, and you were like, maybe we do this.
It
Well,
was Georgia's idea,
we started talking about our favorite murders,
Right.
And like really getting into it, and like I think like Brent Sullivan was at the party with us, was like the only other person into it.
Yes.
and then
I
we
can
would
see
start,
that.
and then
we were all fighting about the staircase.
Yeah.
Jesse Pop was there too. And we were all fighting about, everybody had a different theory about his level of guilt or innocence. And I was like, for me, there's somebody that was actually entertaining the owl theory, that she was attacked.
It's fun. It's fun.
It is more
He's so
fun.
guilty. It's very. It's
He's
a fun
guilty of
concept.
hanging by the pool. That's what he's guilty
Yeah,
of.
for sure.
He's guilty of having friends in other states. But No, it was one of those kind of things where it's like,
This is so organic.
it was super fun, and it was the kind of thing of like everybody being like having heated discussion.
Right.
And
saw
you
the
knew
emotion.
that there
Yeah.
was something in it. There's something there. When electricity starts sparking just from a conversation, you know it's compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a couple like lunches and like got to know each other, and we're talking about murder a lot. And it was just, and I'm obsessed with podcasts, and we both had other podcasts, and we're like, let's fucking do this.
Yeah. Georgia was like, come over, we'll record it. Because, of course, I never do anything. I'll just be like, what a nice idea. Goodbye. But she's like, come to my house on this day at this time, and there will be a machine there, and it'll all happen. And
Thank God she was that, like, sort of rigid as far as, like, making sure you recorded something down.
Yes, exactly.
But it's just, again, it's one of those things. You've worked on so many things that this jumps into a jet stream. I mean, Serial was such a big thing that everybody was thinking about and talking about. And there were times when the Serial reporter would, like, get super colloquial with her, like, language and reporting.
Yeah.
And it seemed inappropriate because she wasn't funny about it. But, like, it
Because
just...
you guys are able to find the comedy strand a little bit in it. It becomes this like weird release in the darkness, and you're like, oh, thank God someone said something funny for a second, and then we're back in it again.
I think that is what it is. It's kind of like what you might actually be thinking, but you would never say it out loud because God forbid anybody be, I don't know, like, I think people interpret it as disrespectful or something.
Well, no, I think the people listening are like,
real.
thank you for saying that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was, 'cause I
And
was
we're
thinking
making fun of like ourselves and the situation and
Right.
like, our own experiences like that.
It's never mean. It's
not
never mean.
mean.
It's more like you react in the way that people want to react, but society and whatnot, the norms that we have say don't do that.
Well, and it's what people actually say in private. So that's what we get a lot of is people going, this is how my friends and I talk to each other when we talk about this stuff. And my friends who like true crime, these are the real conversations that we have.
And for fans who are just of ours who have not heard their podcast, if you love what we do, you will love what they do. And not that you need us to bring our fans to what you do. It's quite the opposite. But like, I just think that, again, we'll turn on a whole new
Should we do one?
Let's do it. Let's do a story here because we break down the stupid behavior.
So in honor of you guys coming here, there is no murder. We tend to not have deaths, but this is a little dark. If anything, this person that I'm about to talk about will end up on your show.
Yeah.
we're
This
you know
is
how
the
like
preamble.
Stephen
to
Avery
my
like
favorite
burned a
murder.
cat and then is like,
Yeah,
no, maybe that's
yeah.
To the answer of the question, does he have priors?
right
Yeah.
here. This right here.
This
We'll
is it.
give you
This
the
is the
steps to getting to
This
your
was
podcast.
sent in by Commodore Cosmonaut at Chris V82. Thank you, Chris. As always, guys, you can send me stories. # Dumb People Time.
And the number 82 is his last name, I think.
Maybe it's V82.
VA2.
I don't know.
VA2.
VA2?
Could be.
Chris VA2.
Lebanon, New Hampshire. Police.
The Lebanon.
Of New Hampshire?
Yeah. The Beirut of New Hampshire.
I'm going to read you. This is the opening sentence to this story. And if I just read this with the people we have in this room, we could do the allotted time just on this sentence.
Oh my God.
Police said a Lebanon man admitted to masturbating into a dirty diaper while watching child pornography in a historic Lebanon church's rectory before setting the church and 2 other buildings on fire and later stabbing 2 people.
Now, if you need this
Standing
to get
ovation.
off, I mean, most people just need a little
my
bit
thing,
of porn.
man. Back off. It's my
guys,
thing.
hey, this is what I need to get going. I almost feel bad for him.
Like, take one of those things and it's awful.
Yes,
But, like,
masturbating into a dirty diaper.
what the
Just that.
Very bad.
Ew.
While watching child pornography in a church before setting that church and 2 other buildings on fire and later stabbing 2 people.
I mean,
Multitasking.
yeah, he's a multitasker.
Get
guy
it
was just
done.
but my question is, so he's masturbating knowing what's going to happen next.
He's
I'm
like,
sure it's all
he has a to-do list, all right?
Ritualistic.
Jerk off into a dirty
Right.
diaper. Renew Netflix.
What if that's
Burn
all he
down
had on
this
hand?
building.
Buttermilk sugar. The standard
He's on a
stuff.
track program.
Yeah.
We're killing people.
What if those were all accidents?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
having to do any of them.
The weirdest
his
thing.
contention is he didn't realize the diaper was dirty.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's
Everything
that's
else
the problem.
You're
Yeah.
saying it's a dirty diaper. I'm saying it had a little bit of urine.
Right.
Very different. I know everyone out there is picturing a shit-stained diaper, but it just
No,
had a little bit
Dirty
of urine.
is subjective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Diapers are built for absorbency.
Could have just been on the ground.
That's right.
Dirty. Wasn't
Yeah.
Anthony Boyve. Boyve.
Oy vey.
It's
Boy, man.
No, that was easy.
Boisvert. I want to say Boisvert, but I know it's Boyve.
Okay.
He was arraigned Tuesday on 2 Class B felony accounts of arson, 1 Class A felony count of arson, 2 Class A counts of first-degree assault, and 2 Class B counts of tampering with witnesses and informants.
So he's now trying to fix the situation.
Yeah.
He's now trying to clean the diaper of his situation.
You can't blame him.
Look, I'm going to ask you straight up. When all those things happened, all right, at what point did he come?
That's a fair
Second building burning to the ground.
pre-stabbing people.
Right in that sweet spot.
Right.
Yeah.
The stabbing was to let the knight know he was still into it, even though he is in his refractory period.
Yeah,
Because when you do...
he was still hard when he stabbed people, but he just
when
wasn't
you
ready to go
release-
again.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed because when you release, you just don't want to do anything after that.
Yeah.
The fact that he still had enough
Not Tony
motivation to
D.
stab some
This
people.
guy.
He had the knife in his hand. He's like, let's just get this over with.
I know. I still have to do this.
I didn't bring this for nothing.
Well, Lebanon Fire and police responded to First Baptist Church on School Street for a fire, on December 28th. It's the holiday season at about 11:20
It's the
p.m.
most wonderful time of the year.
Well, it is that downtime between Christmas
Yeah, it's
and New
Wednesday.
Year's.
It's literally right in the middle.
You're like,
Yeah.
what am I going to do?
Right.
Black Friday's over. He
Yes.
didn't get the widescreen TV he wanted.
Well,
Who's going to pay?
while fire and police units were working to extinguish this fire, a second fire was reported at an occupied structure located on Mascoma Street in Lebanon. The fire was contained to the basement area and was extinguished. I can read. The Lebanon Fire and Police Departments and the New Hampshire Fire Marshal's Office determined the 2 fires were suspicious. Okay.
Uh-huh.
They received information during their investigation that Anthony Boisvert had set the fires. It was reported that several informants heard him at a gathering earlier that day bragging about setting fires previously in both Lebanon and Wilder, Vermont. So this is also the element where the person wants to be caught.
That means this dude has friends that he was like hanging out with before this happened, and he still
Yeah.
was like,
He's invited to gather.
Have you done all your Christmas shopping yet? yeah, I got all mine done. I'm just
Burning
now
this place
just
down.
Now,
wrapping much stuff.
there's a couple other things I have to do.
What else?
Before
What
the
else?
What
New
else do
Year.
you need to do?
What else do you need to do?
It's just some private stuff and then
Right.
2 public things.
What are the
kind of-
public
what-
things?
Public.
You'll see. You'll see.
You're right, because Karen Kilgariff, you are dead on. Boyve was also reported saying, quote, watch the news as he was going to do something big in Lebanon on that night.
He called it.
gonna
Yes.
give to orphans, give a lot of money to orphans.
Big in Lebanon is. I love that with Betty White.
Yeah, it's such a good show. Well, you know what? Because there's a woman who's older, and look, she's got opportunities in the comedy world.
That's right. In Lebanon.
Remember the gathering that I mentioned? Well, Wade Bennett, he told a detective that himself and Anthony Boyve had a campfire in the woods near the boulders. I don't know what that means. On December 28th. So the gathering was just like a miscreant get together around
In
the
the
campfire
woods?
in the woods.
Ugh.
One of those men gathering.
Boyve was heard
male.
saying he was going to do something big, and he keeps saying the same. We get it, man.
All right,
Yeah.
you got
You
big
got
plans.
You got
If
plans.
any of your friends said that, wouldn't you be like, are you okay? What are you talking
Doing something
about?
big
Right?
tonight, Georgia.
You'd
What?
be
Doing something
suspicious.
big tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big.
You okay?
What?
Dan,
Dan, what?
What are you
Big.
going to do?
What are you
Got
gonna
something
do?
Say
big
it
planned,
now
guys.
at the boulders
It
while we're
is.
here.
Big.
Big time.
Yeah.
Hey, you
I also
thought you
like
wanna-
the idea he already had a fire going, so like the Olympic torch, he took something and ran it
Do you
into
care if I
town.
take one of these embers?
Because I'm just going to start a couple new ones.
Right.
He had Muhammad Ali's daughter carry the torch for just a portion of the run.
You don't want to waste a match, you know?
Police interviewed several family members of Boyve. I'm sure they were happy. Boyve's wife, Tanya.
Oh,
How does he have a wife?
Yeah, they always do. They always find love.
Why?
I don't know.
Who is that
For all-
person? We know people in our lives who you're like, you can't. You're like, come on. If this guy has
Yeah.
a wife, what is happening?
Yep.
Find
She called
love.
police on January 1st. I'm assuming this was her resolution.
To not be married to a psycho anymore.
Right. Saying that Boivier, whatever, had called her, so they're not living together, guys.
Oh, okay.
And said he was going to turn himself in the next day.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to call 24
Everything's got to be in a...
Fitness.
Yes. I have to call 24
Our
Hour
Fitness to set up my membership.
I got a lot to do.
Next.
I love that.
I got a
he
diaper
probably
to jerk
felt
off
so
into. I got to
dramatic.
renew my membership.
Calling her and then her being like, just do it. You with all the preambles to what you say, you're
Yeah.
just go do it.
I'd like to see some action here.
Yeah.
Just do it.
He
Said he was
does
gonna-
it, though.
He does it.
I want
said
to be
it-
married to a man with follow through.
Right? I mean, there is
Yes.
something attractive
He did
about
do
the
what
fact
he
that he
said he was
talks
gonna
and then he
do.
does.
Yeah.
It is attractive.
Call me after you've turned yourself in, and I'll start to believe you've changed.
Right.
Yeah.
He said
Would
he's
you,
going to turn
if
himself in.
you knew this guy and you knew his past, if you were going to try and pick him up, would you just say to him in your sexiest voice, I want to be your dirty diaper?
You were looking right at me.
I know, I'm sorry. That was so, I zeroed
Specifically for me.
so in
I
on
wanna
Jordy.
be your dirty diaper.
I'm really
He wanted
sorry.
her to know he was currently at Wade Bennett's house. Wade Bennett is
Wade.
our guy from the fire.
That's right.
Accomplice.
As police, they were on their way to the 20 Wolf Road Boulder condominiums. Oh, I guess that's where they were at, having a fire in the woods. They received an emergency call from two people that had been stabbed at the condominiums where the police were headed.
Hey, what are you guys talking about? Oh my God!
Two people.
Did you guys hear about that fire? No!
Hey, why are you guys gathered up around these boulders?
Who left these Pampers on?
Are those you? Are those clean or dirty? I need
Hey,
to
did you
know.
just stab my friend?
The caller stated that Boivier stabbed the two
There's
people.
a condominium meeting happening in the...
It's a great HOA.
Nobody stabs him. Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there. The caller stated that Boivier had stabbed the two people and then fled on foot. Arriving police units found Bennett and Diane Fawnin suffering from several stab wounds to their head, neck, and body areas.
I
They
know
were-
exactly what Jay wanted to make the...
What?
Diane Fawnin's
when
work
she-
with gorillas, really.
She spent all that time in the boulders.
She came
hanging
out of the mist
Came out
only
of
to
the
get
mist.
stabbed in Lebanon.
Right.
That's horrible. I always love when people talk about people getting stabbed in the head.
Dude.
Because it's just so like, it's just
Blunt.
like, it's just this. It's
Yeah.
like
Lot
you're
of
just stabbing
hardness.
bone.
Yeah,
I feel
'cause
like
it
you're
can't
not
go
going to
deep.
survive that one.
No.
But can it go deep? I mean, can
it
they
depends
go
on
through
the
the
blade.
skull?
Over
right?
here, it can, I guess, if you get in
Yeah.
that sweet spot.
Fuck.
Jeez.
Arriving police units found Bennett and Diane suffering from their wounds. Police conducted a search of Boivier around 10:14 p.m. He was located at Tannery Lane attempting to get into his sister's apartment.
Hey.
I don't believe they had spoken months. Boivier was arrested. He admitted to the officers that he had stabbed Bennett and Fawn and admitted to starting the fire at the church, along with breaking into the CCBA. I don't know what that is. The condominiums, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
And senior center. His clothes were covered in blood. He was taken in for questioning and allegedly admitted to investigators that he started the fire at the First Baptist Church and the 68 Moscama Street. He also told a detective to, quote, watch the news. I'm going out with a bang. Again.
He told the cops that?
Yes.
You
not
just
gonna
told
let
us
you
what you
go.
did.
Watch the news. No, we're going to
Everything's
actually
grand.
get it out of you. We've already confessed to enough
Watch
here.
tonight's crimes. You're already in jail.
And meanwhile, people at the local news are like, yeah, watch.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of people watching local
Right.
news anymore. Like,
Please.
Boivier allegedly told detectives that he then went to the church and watched children's porn and or young girl gymnastics. Very different.
similar.
Yeah, well,
I
yeah.
mean different.
As a man with
They're
a
in the
daughter in
wheelhouse for
gymnastics,
what
this
he
bothers
wants.
me. I'm never going to film my daughter and put her online at all.
He
Please
did
don't.
this on the rectory computer. That church needs some security
Firewalls,
passwords.
man.
Yes.
Get
How
those
is that an
up.
accessible site?
To be fair, like no one really thinks late girls gymnastics is sexual, but
I mean, he could
fucking
just be
creeps.
really, I know, could just be really into it. Just
He
literally being
masturbated
like,
into a dirty diaper that he got from the church's nursery. Throw out your garbage.
Jesus.
He then said he lit a United States flag on fire in the main church area, causing the church to go up in flame. That's church and state.
He's now crossed a real line.
He definitely
Yes.
wanted to separate church and state.
He then broke into the CCBA looking for money. At the senior center, he found $50. Then he left the center and
All
watched.
in $5 checks that were about to go out to people.
He then left the center and watched the fire at the church for a period of time, which is also one of the creepiest things to me in this, that he's just
standing there.
Yes.
It's like watching
Isn't that
someone
normal for arsonists? Don't they like come and
Yeah,
watch?
they need to see the burn. Yeah, they need to see the
Part of
burn.
it.
He said he then headed to his sister's house, but on the way threw clothes onto a couch in the basement of Mascoma Street and set them on fire. When asked why he started the fire, he said he knew some children lived there. This guy is going to end up on your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh no,
What
this
a
guy
piece of shit.
Like when you know this much, we can put him down, right? We can put him to sleep. This guy.
You mean 2 to the back of the head?
Two to the back of the head.
Tap, tap.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm a parent, I thought that was always a weird statement when people would say that. Like, I got to go upstairs and put my kids down. You're like, how? Make them face the wall.
Execution
Put the hands
style.
behind their back.
Blair Witch style.
exactly.
Stand in the corner, be
Face
quiet.
the wall. This is only going to take a second.
But the other thing, well, you might
go.
want to get to the end, but all of these things, this guy, his name's Tony?
Yep, Anthony or Tony.
I like to call him Tony.
Me too.
You're closer with
Tony
him.
B.
So.
Is screaming at the top of his lungs, I was molested by a priest.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
anyone else getting that at all?
All of it.
Who
All
was
of it.
also the coach of the gymnastics team.
Yes.
Who also ran the daycare center?
Yeah.
Yes.
So shop for all the
And
diapers.
the diaper manufacturer in town.
Yes.
Probably
right.
where it happened was in the daycare center.
Yeah.
I mean, he's putting it all together.
He's giving us all the
laying
very
out the
overt
clues
puzzle.
of his sexual history.
That's right.
And a fire, too. A fire is like what says, look over here bigger
Than a fire.
Than a fire.
He's gonna
Right.
do something big.
Yeah.
He's gonna do
Watch the
something-
news, guys. Watch the news
All
tonight.
he needed to do after this was take a nap and wet the bed for it to fit into
Yeah.
Trifecta.
Yeah, that's
the
called
trifecta.
hitting for the cycle.
I watched the news. It was the national news. I watched.
you
No,
watched the
no,
local
local.
news.
I
Did
said
I not? No, you didn't say local. You said watch.
You're
the
going to
news.
have to do it again then because I missed
It
it.
was on the 9 o'clock news.
I was watching Extra. Is that what you meant?
No.
The entertainment news?
No.
Oh.
Jeez, Dan.
He admitted to stabbing the two people because they had talked to police about him being there on the 28th. Honey, he's just going to come by for a little bit. It's between Christmas and New Year's. What's the worst can
I
happen?
just get weird feelings around him. He smells like diapers.
He wants to have a word with us. I don't know why.
He also allegedly admitted to starting the fire in the abandoned house because he told detectives that he burnt the house down because kids used that building to do drugs. So he's also trying to fight back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one way.
It's part of the DARE program.
That's right.
We'll get out on this. Boivier's sister, Andrea Gilbert, was also arrested for falsifying evidence, a Class B felony, after detectives searched her cell phone and said she tried erasing the data contained on it. I'm going to ask.
What was it?
I imagine text from him saying
From
where
him
he
saying
was.
where
or
Saying
what
I
he
just
had
started a
done.
fire.
Saying watch the
news.
It's a five.
She's like, I don't even need this. I don't even need this. I'm going to ask you guys,
How old?
how old is Anthony Boivier?
Too much fun leaves marks in life. Living hard, you'll pay the price. Who is gonna get it right? Guess the age. Guess the age.
In
It's
my
a game
mind,
we like to play. Yeah, this is a game we like to play. We know what we know about him. In your mind, how old is he?
I was picturing like a late 30s dude.
Okay.
Okay.
But now that you asked,
Yeah.
and Fire in the Woods, 19.
19. Can you give him a specific number? Because we are going for
38.
38, 19.
Jason Sklar.
This is a 58-year-old guy.
58.
This is a
That's a lot of
58-year-old
pent-up
guy.
anger, and that would probably mean it's not his first.
This is
Fire.
this
Fire
is his
stabbing.
first fire
Rodeo.
Fire rodeo.
Masturbation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tuck in and say 43.
43 years
Tuck in
old.
the middle there.
Now, if you guys remember from one of your episodes, you gave the stats of the average age of a murderer.
29.
31?
The average age is 28. This gentleman is 27 years old.
So you know what's next.
Karen.
Karen
Karen
number
wins.
one. And you know what's next.
Well, in his defense, his Saturn is returning, and he's becoming who he wants to be.
Carrie
That
Wynn.
7-year process is ending.
I hope that is his defense.
Ugh. My
That's
Saturn was
sorry.
returning. I didn't know.
There's
That was
no defense for that. That's a
I
great
just-
way to go
the
kick off with
flag
these
and
guys.
the diaper. I was like, this,
It has it all. The
This is
story
all-
has it all.
Yeah, it
right?
really does.
This is
It
earlier.
unfortunately feels like America right now. That America is like a diaper that's been jerked off into and then the flag burnt.
Just like running from one crime to the next. It's like, I don't know. I think I can get child porn in there.
Scorched earth.
I don't
Everyone's
care.
like, this is bad. Watch
is
it on
bad.
the news. And people don't get it.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
That's
All right,
it.
well, with that, let's go to our first break, shall
All right,
we?
let's do it.
Karen, George, I'm so happy you guys are here. We are, and Dan, I'm happy you're here too.
Thanks, man.
Jason, not so much.
Jesus.
We'll be back with more Dumb People Town right after this.
Stick around, make a sound. There's more Dumb People Town.
It's a trying time that challenges all of our basic assumptions. However, one thing that brings us all together is our common humanity. Now, more than ever, teams must come together and work together to solve big challenges. And Trello is here to help. Trello, part of Atlassian's collaborative suite, is an app with an easy-to-understand visual format. Plus, tons of features that make working with your team functional and just plain fun. Teams of all shapes and sizes and companies like Google, Fender, and even Costco all use Trello to collaborate and get work done. With Trello, you can work with your team wherever you are, whether it's at home or in an office. No matter what device you're using, computer, tablet, or phone, Trello syncs across all of them, so you can stay up to date on all the things your team cares about. Keep your workflow going from wherever you are with Trello. Try Trello for free and learn more at Trello.com. That's Trello.com. Trello.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Dumb People Town. Of course, subscribe and rate and review this podcast. If you haven't subscribed to My Favorite Murder, please get on that train. There's a lot of people there already. If you want to, I have to thank you to everyone who came out and saw us record our 1 hour stand-up special in Chicago last weekend.
I'm sorry I did so much time, guys.
Yeah, and
Dan,
why did you do an hour?
I was feeling it. That audience
You're
was
supposed to set us up. And
Oh.
do that.
No, we are recording this before we go out there. Dan, you will
So
be
we're
great.
already saying thank you to those people who will be coming out, but this already happened, so thank
But
you.
you can feel, even though it hasn't happened yet, how much fun it's going to be.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Dan,
great.
It was great.
It was great.
You
It
guys,
was
time
great.
is a flat circle.
Isn't it?
It's
It
just
is.
make it what it is.
And that's what we're doing.
Were you guys into that show? Were you into True Detective?
First season,
Yeah.
I was
yeah. First season.
insanely into it. And then second season, I
Nice.
became obsessed with hating it.
Mm-hmm.
Except where I honestly felt like the Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams part
Yes,
was
yes.
insanely hot and awesome.
so hot.
And he was
Ridiculously
great.
hot. He was great.
He was so good. But the Vince Vaughn, I've never seen him worse. And I've always been a huge fan of his.
Huge fan. We got to. Have you ever worked with him on anything before? We got a chance to work in a movie with him and did a scene with him. And what I loved about him is that we improvised a ton of stuff, and he was right there with it.
Yeah.
That guy can improvise so well. And he just loved it.
Maybe he was too much in a weird box. Like he wasn't doing what he does best,
Yes.
and that put him at a
Truthfully,
disadvantage.
I like that he went out there to try and do it. You know what I mean? I like that he wasn't who you thought was going to get that role.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
Maybe
not,
he knew it was going to be shitty, and he was just like, "Fuck this! I'm going to blow it up." Then, you know what I mean? You're just like, no stakes because it's going to fucking suck.
taking it all down.
You know, there are parts of it, I have to say, the waiting for it to turn was compelling. You know what I mean? The waiting for things to happen in it, to me, I was like, all right, I'm going to keep watching because I want to see how they turn this thing.
I just liked that part of the drama of that season was a civics-based plot.
Very much.
Which is like, who
Yeah.
gives a shit what happens in a fake city of industry? Because basically they took...
Yeah, the
it was,
city of industry.
It was city of industry,
Yeah.
but they just renamed it. And then it's just like, well, who knows what's going to happen down here? And it's like, who gives a shit?
This is not The Wire.
Yes,
We're not in
exactly.
Baltimore.
Chinatown, very interesting.
Now,
Fucking-
let me ask you guys this, though. As much as Karen, as you said, you don't like talking about TV shows in small talk. A show that I love that I feel like perfectly examines like the carelessness of murder or like the tension of people that leads up to violent acts. Season 2 of Fargo.
Oh,
Just
so good.
right?
Yeah,
And
amazing.
the cop work or the scene when why am I not remembering his name? He plays the sheriff. He plays the cop, the young cop. the
Patrick
actor.
Wilson?
Yes, when he's looking at the couple, Kirsten Dunst and
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons, and he's like,
Choose the name.
He's like, you have a face of people who don't know the trouble they're in yet. And I've seen this face before because death is upon them and like murder and violence. That shows pacing and build of suspense and even just offhanded, careless murder, that diner scene.
Yeah.
And then the cop work after it to be like just looking at trying to figure it out.
Because you know it all. You know it all and you watch them figure it out.
Yeah.
2 years ago when Kristen Dunst did not win the Golden Globe, I just tweeted out and said, I don't think the Hollywood Foreign Press watched Fargo. That's the only explanation I have.
Didn't she win it for Temple Grandin?
No. She was Georgia.
Claire Danes.
Oh, sorry.
She was ridiculous.
Oh my!
At first, I saw her on the first episode. I was like, "What the fuck? This is dumb." And then I was like, amazed.
I'm a victim too. Okay?
Yes. Oh my god!
I've been through things. Nobody thinks about me.
When they slowly pull back, and it's that thing. Like I remember watching myself realize that she is a hoarder.
Yeah.
That she's trying to collect a life she wanted to have and can't have in that house. Like everything about that is so relatable and so brilliant. And then fucking Gene Smart as the head of that mafia family.
Amazing.
It's just you
Have you ever
never
worked
see
with
women
her?
on TV. I wish
She's
never.
amazing.
Did you guys
Yeah.
work
On
on
the
On an
Oblongs,
animated
just
show.
on an animated
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Well, we were in a voice
Still.
room
Yeah,
like
in a
this.
voice room with her, and I was like, man, she's really, for an animated show, I'm like, she's doing
So much dramatic
so
work
much
on a
stuff.
comedy. She was putting, like, she would, in a scene, like, fully lock eyes and act with somebody, which is so rare in an animated comedy. Like they would have a scene in there. I was like, I wish someone was filming this right now because they're acting in a scene right now and the microphones are incidental. It was pretty awesome to watch.
Amazing.
Behind
Isn't that
close range.
Agreed. She was incredible.
Because in that show, if you just break it down, she's a woman losing everything, trying to hold on to her family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And she loves people in spite of themselves. She loves people for what they can do.
And we know those people.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys see, obviously, through all the things you've done, you obviously start to see patterns forming in behavior and certainly in murderous behavior. I'm talking about from the podcast. Like, you start to see, because we see it in this show. Like, as soon as something happens, we're like, oh, this guy's this guy.
Yeah.
This guy is this person. This person was dared into the, like, you start to see that. Am I right? Or-
Yeah. Well, I think we both have, specific murders that we're interested in, and a lot of those have patterns for sure. But I mean, we try to go all over the place and not just do like the, child serial killer murderers.
But there are those, like, it is funny how often drugs are in it. So it's that kind of thing where you just go, man, I wonder if, it's some terrible little town where probably someone had no choice but to just start getting strung out on meth. Where would this person have done this crime or these horrible crimes if they weren't strung out on meth, if they weren't out of their minds on whatever drug they're on, like stuff like that.
Because there's drug-related murder crimes, mental illness-related murder. Because people don't just they're not born into the world and like, let me kill some people.
Some people
the
are.
serial killers.
Some people are. Yeah.
Some people are.
Yeah.
I think the
ones
pattern
I
with-
like.
Very good. The patterns with that a lot, especially in the 70s and 80s, are that the women are fucking polite and the women, help a guy carry shit to his car or like want to get photos taken of them in the desert. And it's, the pattern there is just like, the pattern, not to victim blame.
Assuming that someone's a good person.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Assuming the best in somebody and someone who's been rejected probably over and over prior to that.
Yeah.
I once heard I can't remember where I got this from, but somebody had said that if they had a son or daughter that they were like raising, be like, this person is inherently evil, they were like, all I would try to get them to do is join the Marines. Because they would either then die a hero doing what they were way
Or
into.
kill people.
Yeah.
Or they'd die. Or I'm saying they would die, yeah. Or they would just be like the most successful and they would just stay on the front line because that's where they want to be.
Yeah.
Something that you guys touch on a lot on the show that freaks me out the most is the people who get other people to do stuff with them.
Yeah.
Those people who like become a cop, it's like, yeah, I'll help you catch girls that are like that.
Yeah.
Are you obsessed with the Manson
Even
murder?
bury a body. It's like you didn't even do the crime, and you're going to help your buddy
Bury a body.
Bury his girlfriend that you were like friends with. It's crazy to me.
Crazy.
Or the women who do it with their
Husbands and
like
boyfriends.
these men that they I was just watching this one, and I want to do it, so I won't talk about it too much, but there was a Sunset Strip killer in LA, and it was basically this woman who was very bland looking, who was a nurse in real life, and this man who was her
This is who you based your
boyfriend.
Halloween costume on.
That's who I was deep down in my heart. But yeah, that thing where it's like, if you're a young girl that's trying to make money on the Sunset Strip and a car pulls up and this very like momish looking woman is like, come and have a good time with my husband, then you're like, oh, I'm somehow in good hands.
We're okay here.
Everything's okay.
Right,
There's
there's
a
a
woman.
witness.
There's someone on my side. Yeah, there's like, she won't let anything happen. Meanwhile, she's there to make sure something happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
Or the
sinister.
hitchhiker that's like, oh, it's a couple. It's a nice couple. I'm safe here.
Yeah.
And then,
You live under their bed for 3 years.
Exactly.
7
In a
years.
cell.
7 years.
She
under
lived
a
under
bed.
there for
That
7
story,
years.
the craziest part of that story is that he took her home to see her family, and then they went
Took her
back.
back.
And she didn't do anything.
She's broke. She was reeked.
was
She was
broken.
reeked. She was reeked.
And-
Reeked from Game of Thrones.
That's
she was
right.
broke.
Yes. And she honestly believed that there was a system in place that if she said a word, they would just go in and kill her whole family when she left. So
Right.
she was doing
Protecting
it for them.
Yeah, protecting them.
Amazing.
How
That
many?
was
What's the
object-
number
object constancy.
of assumed active serial killers at any given time in the U.S.? I've heard before. I want to say it's 20.
It's a lot.
That they're like currently.
By the way, if it's more than one, it's too many.
Yeah. Well, did you
I don't
see?
know, one feels right.
One-
Yeah.
One's good.
Yeah. What, did you see the killing fields, or what was the one about the Long Island?
Oh, the Long Island serial killer?
Yeah.
I think it was the Killing Fields.
And they keep saying like, there's these 3 murders or like serial killers across the nation, and everyone's like, they have the same MO. It must be one guy. And they're like, no, it's probably like 3 or 4 different people, because that happens all the time. It's not like there's one dude.
and a lot of them are cross-country truckers, which is the craziest, where they can
They
just
can go
kind of...
anywhere
Yeah.
and be everywhere.
Again, how they came up with the show Ice
Road
Trucker.
Murders.
All right, Dan, do we have another story?
Yes, we do.
Get into it.
Okay.
This is goofier. Sent in by Garrett Price at Garrett _Price. There's no I just put that in there. A driver found passed out at a Springetsbury Township intersection. Springetsbury.
To me, it sounds like a yogurt that doesn't taste well. Hey, let's take the kids to Springetsbury.
It's an off-brand.
I don't want to go there.
Kids, you have to.
You don't want sugar-free yogurt? What's your problem?
I don't like it. Carrot.
They have saltines to put on top of it.
All right? Just get the aspirin flavor and enjoy it.
Their only topping is 7-Up and
I'll have a
saltines.
small
Crumbled up
scoop
salty.
of Tums flavor.
Tums are a topping. Tums
Baby
are a topping.
aspirin.
Yeah.
And
Give him a little
saltines.
more chalk, and that's all you get.
Ooh.
All
all you
right?
get.
Can I have a little cup? I wanted to try the Pepsid AC.
Nope.
Not
Those are-
today.
Not
No
today. You already
3
have one.
toppings. I'll take Imodium.
Springetsbury Township. A driver found passed out at a Springetsbury Township intersection while, quote, utilizing, I don't know if that needs to be in quotes.
That's jerking off.
Utilizing a penis pump. Fled from officers.
Okay, yeah,
He
you
was
were.
passed out at the intersection driving a
Utilizing.
car while utilizing a penis
Oh,
pump.
He
that's
had pumped so much
Yeah,
that it just
blood
took it
rushes.
out. Yeah.
I feel a little...
Wait, don't you utilize one of those right before the act? Like what?
I don't...
He's
ready to
driving
go.
on
I
his
definitely
way?
don't know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Why hasn't
I would never
You
know.
use it when you can.
Why hasn't has Reebok made a penis pump like that? I feel like they need to. They're the foreground of pumping.
Yeah, you'd think.
They should get in there.
He
right.
fled from officers, prompting a brief chase. It was longer than that, according to charging
It
documents.
usually isn't this short. Usually,
Usually, yeah, my chases run.
sorry.
Chad Michael Kagan. I love his show with Jordan Peele. Chad Michael Kagan. And I love this too. When someone who's reporting on this feels like, you know what these people need to know about this person? Everything. Chad Michael Keegan of 43 Meridian Lane. In case, just in case you wanted
I'm going to
to.
write him a
Want
letter.
to drive by his house and throw pumps at his window?
That feels illegal.
It
Dear
does,
Chad.
right?
Yeah.
And like,
Meridian
the
Lane.
guy fell asleep with a dick pump.
Yeah.
Got
Not
caught by the
assaulting
cops.
anyone.
No one got hurt.
In case
Very
anybody
dumb.
wanted to know where he is.
Yeah, but who? They're like, let's ring him up. This is
Yeah.
like back when they used to like break it down old like gay bars, and then they'd call the reporters first before the cops got there.
Yeah.
Wait,
Wait,
don't need to
which
know where he lives.
Chad Michael Kagan are we talking about?
Right.
The one on Victory?
No.
Oh, the one on Meridian.
Yeah.
Meridian,
Meridian.
yes, it's Meridian.
He faced a second-degree misdemeanor charge of fleeing or attempting to elude police, filed December 22nd. Again, holiday season. According to court records. What happened? What have you been up to? He has not been arraigned. Guys, it's the second time in 18 months he's been accused of causing a police chase. When they say causing, I hope that means that he got someone else to do one. Township officers,
they're not gonna follow you.
Township officers were called to the intersection of Haynes Road and Mountain Rose Avenue shortly after 5 a.m. A report of a man slept over the steering wheel. The first officer on the scene found Kagan passed out in the driver's seat of a borrowed Volkswagen Touareg. The worst kind of Volkswagen Touareg. A borrowed one. What are you going to do with this, man?
Isn't that basically like the Ford Aerostar of Volkswagen?
Yes.
It's
what am I
basically-
going to do with it? I'll probably just use a penis pump and then pass out at an intersection. What do you think I'm going to do with it?
Either that
Back
or
off, Mike.
drop a bunch of kids off at school. I don't know. What is
thing.
it? What do you care?
Yeah.
You're just lending it to me.
Right.
Why do you give a shit?
I don't own it.
The first officer found him passed out of the borrowed Touareg with a penis pump in operation. Charging documents state.
How does that work? I really don't know how
A penis pump is a
works.
hand or battery-powered apparatus considered one of the few treatment options for erectile dysfunction.
That's what he's running from.
Guess who they went to get that from?
Who?
The Mayo Clinic. That's what they want to spend their time on, telling everyone how to properly use a
So
penis
I've been
pump.
working for the Mayo Clinic for a long
Oh,
time.
yeah.
now.
You guys
what
do a
do
lot
you
of
do over
cancer
there?
advancements
No,
over there.
not really working on the cancer stuff.
More like pediatric
No,
rehabilitation.
unfortunately, we haven't really gotten into that area yet.
Okay.
So heart problems.
No, we're not doing the hard stuff
All
either.
right.
That's
So
a
a lot
whole
of, like-
other wing.
Are you in the funding area of the Mayo
Not
Clinic?
in the fundraising or any sort of that right there.
Collect pallets.
No, although that is, we're doing great work on that, but that is not my department
end the
specifically.
suspense. What are you into these days?
We're doing a lot of research.
On
Penis pumps.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Just how they work. And,
Yeah.
Right. You heading up that division?
You know, look, sometimes people use them and pass out, and then newspaper organizations will ask us for quotes, and
okay.
I am that.
We're just
sort of
trying
guy.
to infuse the program with a lot,
That's right.
lot of excitement.
It seemed like a dying program for a long time, and then we have really
Trying to build it up
We've
again.
injected
Gotta
it with
work
life.
those phones, you know?
Yep.
Just keep getting funding from some old dude
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
mansion.
My favorite.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. My
No.
favorite sentence in this story: the driver's side window was down when the officer approached. He could smell a strong odor of alcohol. This is what made me laugh. After which, it took, quote, several minutes of yelling to wake Hagen. I just imagine the cop, middle of the street, guy with a pump on his head. Sir, I need you to wake up.
All he needed to do was flick that penis pump like 2 or 3 times.
Seriously, they're gonna be like,
Right
I'm ready.
away.
I'm ready.
Hello.
Then here's what.
Is this?
Weird-
Oh, I mean, I know we just came off the Super Bowl. I know you guys are huge. Is this Inflate Gate?
There you
Can we
go.
call this that?
At Sklar Brothers, if you'd love to say how much you love that.
No, we're not doing anything with menopause or anything like
No,
that.
nothing about menopause.
No, I just-
What are you working
We're
on?
doing research.
Oh, okay. It's really hard.
But I do
research.
have a badge that says Mayo Clinic on it. I park at the Mayo Clinic. That's
Okay.
where I work.
Good.
Gotcha.
Great.
I would stop there when telling people what
Yeah,
you did.
just let them know it's research, and that's it.
After being woken up, Kagan turned off the SUV's ignition after being told to do so. He said he was on his way home from a York City bar. Nothing new about it. Kagan's speech was slurred and his eyes were glassy and bloodshot. The documents state, that was all in quotes. After other officers arrived, Kagan, quote, slowly reached for the ignition button and turned the vehicle back on.
we see you. We see your finger.
I see you. Sir, I see your finger turning down.
Don't worry about what I do with my hands, man. He was ordered to turn off the vehicle, but instead put the Touareg into drive and took off at a high rate of speed. Police gave chase with lights and sirens. Just that's for the kids, I imagine.
Yes.
They activated all those, but lost sight of the SUV on Kingston Road. They filed a fleeing or eluding charge, but they did not file a drunk driving charge. Little key for everybody that wants to break the law. Once they left, they never determined if he was drunk. He could have gone home and started pounding vodka.
That's right.
Yeah. So
And what do you say, Dan? Always, if you're drunk, if you're
Don't blow.
drunk in your car and you pass out,
take the keys
Take
out.
the keys out of the ignition.
That's
It
right.
proves intent to drive. If it does not if they're out. Yeah.
But if
or
you're
don't
just-
drink and drive.
No, I just know people.
Well,
Yeah,
Georgia.
I know a guy who was driving home. Was like, I should not be driving. Pulled over to go to sleep. for hours, maybe the next day, whatever, but left the keys in ignition, tap on the window, got a DUI.
Fuck.
And they was like, you left your key. The cop was not.
Gotcha.
But he did take the penis pump off. So
that's
that was
smart.
off.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
In the
yeah,
passenger
yeah.
seat with a seatbelt around it, which was really weird.
Here's a special seat for the pump,
Sitting up and with the seatbelt across.
facing away from the windshield. Good.
2014, little backstory. Kagan was charged with fleeing police during that year on June 3rd on the Kingston and Meriden Road, same area. In that case, he was spotted doing 50 in a 35 and took off when police tried to
By the way,
stop him.
50 and a 35
No.
is not that bad.
Please.
No.
We do it every day.
People.
Every day.
I don't
We
go
all
over
do it.
40.
Dan.
I bet you guys anything through this whole fucking thing, he's never had his license suspended once.
Not once?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just not that
Are you
good.
saying because he's white?
He is white. He looks like that guy that ran up all those the medical device. What's that guy's name? Patton
the
like
EpiPen-
destroyed him on
the
Twitter.
EpiPen
Yes,
guy?
yeah.
Oh.
He was selling
Oh,
Epi-
Martin Shkreli?
Yes, he looks like that guy.
So good.
I thought Martin Shkreli was that Shkreli was like Skrillex.
Same guy.
The same thing. It's
His
like
DJ name?
It's a mixture of like
Dub.
hard rock and dubstep.
Kagan was going so fast in that police pursuit that an SUV he was driving, I'm assuming borrowed, launched after going over a speed hump. Police stopped him in pursuit after it was because it was unsafe. They didn't keep going after him, but they ended up finding him. Police tracked him down later that night, and Kagan told them, quote, he began to have an issue with irritable bowel syndrome and was running from the cops because he defecated in the car. This guy has the best excuses.
That is the male version of I have my period,
Yep.
where
Yeah,
you
it
think
is.
if you say it, no
Yeah.
one's going to ask any more questions.
Get out of here, you.
Yeah. Oh, fine then. See you
told-
later.
Yep, he told the cops, I just didn't want you to
Good
stop
day,
me in that
ma'am.
condition. As part of a deal, the fleeing charge was dropped. He pled guilty to careless driving. He could not be reached for comment Monday. So that worked. That I was going to
Yeah.
shit myself, guys. I just didn't
IBS.
want you to see me like that.
Keep it in mind.
It is unclear whether or not,
IBS. It's the male period.
it is unclear whether or not he has borrowed an attorney.
Borrowed it.
Wow. Or shit. I mean, I hate to
What do
say
you
it.
do with my Tureg, man?
I don't know, man. But he really did, like, if he does have IBS, he shit the bed with the whole.
No, he shit the Turig.
Could that become a new term?
What
Shit
if,
the Turig.
what if it's the Turig that's making him so crazy? Like he gets into it and he's just like, "Oh my god, I'm alive.
I'm either stretching out my dick or shitting in here tonight.
I just got to do something in the Turig."
That's it, man. Ooh, that's a great way to go to our next break, guys. We're off and running.
Yes, we are.
There we go.
This is Dumb People Town. This is
That's
how
all
we do
happening.
it. Their podcast is called. I keep wanting to call it "Making a Murder." My favorite murder, and it is fantastic. It's on Feral Audio here. Check it out and subscribe to it and rate it and all that wonderful stuff.
One more segment.
One more segment, and then we have a voicemail from Javier Bardem. He
nice.
actually left us a voicemail.
That's so
Very
great.
excited
Fan
about
of
that.
this show, yeah.
Fan of this show.
Friend of
Fan
this
of
show.
us, friend of ours, and we'll catch that after the break. We'll be right back.
Stick around, make a sound. There's more Dumb People Town.
Hey there, Adam Conover here. Humans Who Make Games is my podcast where I sit down with the people who created some of your favorite video games and have the kind of long-form personal conversation we so rarely get to hear. We talk about how they got into the industry, what their favorite games were growing up, and what it's like working in the trenches of this century's greatest new art form. This season, we've got a whole batch of new interviews for you. I talked to Kim Swift from Portal, Alex Preston from Hyperlight Drifter, Anna McGill from Control, and Alex Beecham from the game Outer Wilds. Whether you love video games or you just love learning more about other artists' creative process, I can guarantee you're going to love this podcast. So, you can get Season 2 of Humans Who Make Games wherever you get your podcasts. Take a listen.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Dumb People Town. In the break, we were just talking about your Facebook community, which Dan was saying was a brilliant idea on your part to make it private. Just also because there was this sense of like acceptance into this community. And then you said people have meetups and communicate with each other. I mean, it must be cool to watch your fans connecting.
It is. I mean, everyone's so fucking supportive of each other, and it's not just about the podcast that they're interested. It's like, it's a place for them to talk about their interest in true crime that they don't have anyone else in their lives to talk about it with. So, I mean, I secretly scroll it now, and like when I start crying sometimes when people are being so nice to each other.
One of the things I love about your guys' show is it's a conversation. Like, you don't present yourself as any sort of authoritarian figures on what you're talking about. So you tell people, like, if we're getting this wrong, just tell us. We take that a lot, and some people love letting us know when
that was a fake story, bro.
Yeah,
you guys got fooled.
Yes,
it was like wrestling. Like, the comedy wasn't fake. We made jokes off of.
Still had to fly through the air comedically and get a double leg kick to the head of this story, and we did it.
Yeah, but you're part of this discussion too. So just like, I'm sure somebody will listen to this and be like, it's actually just on average there's 23 serial killers.
Oh, did you know the town is called Worcester? I didn't fucking know that. People are pissed at me. What did I say?
Worcestershire. Well, speaking of, you guys we talked about the Orpheum show. You guys have shows at the world famous Beacon in New York.
Yeah.
Crazy. And that's happening when? March, right? Sometime?
Yes.
Go to the Facebook page and find out when that's going to be. Go find it.
Are you guys big Durst fans and that whole
Fred Durst?
Fred Durst. Yes, we love
the Fred Durst murders were amazing. I can't believe
they found his sperm in the grotto of the Playboy Mansion, and they knew it was him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, the documentaries are great, but I think, I'm loyal to the smaller shows, and the like episodic ones I think are really exciting.
I actually have Robert Durst's trial is on the 15th, and I have it in my phone on the calendar.
Wow.
He's gonna get off.
His LA.
Yeah.
You mean in the LA one?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because
I'm mad at you now. Why, Dion?
if you're his defense attorney, this is your entire case. You say, did he drive down there? Did he not tell anybody he was going there? Did he want to surprise his friend that he was going to show up on Christmas and see her? Yes. And do I need to prove to you that he loved her and took care of her? No. Look at all these letters and all these checks. When he walked in that house, she was already dead. And who would be the first suspect? He would. So he left, but because he cared about her, he didn't want her to be lying there dead with no one ever knowing about it. So he went the extra effort and notified someone that she was dead in that house. None of those things mean he killed her. It just means he cares about her.
And Karen's so mad right now.
And Beverly should be spelled Beverley.
It wouldn't matter. He was in distress over his friend dying. Yes, he wrote that letter. He cared about her being left in that house dead.
The thing that's amazing about Robert Durst is that he is smart enough to have flown to, it's the tip top of California where no one ever goes to drive back down.
I just wanted to see the coast.
Do you think his priors will be admissible in court?
Will your priors be admissible in court?
I think that way he's guilty.
Why would they have any bearing on what I
got a lot of Robert, they have a lot of bearing.
You've done a lot of bad things, Robert.
I've been self-sufficient. And
what does that mean?
I took a sandwich.
Wait a minute. Are you going to blame all this on Douglas too?
Douglas? Who knows where Douglas was? Douglas knew I would be.
Well, he was getting.
Hey, Bob, are you listening to My Favorite Murder podcast?
I have my own personal favorite murders.
Okay.
And missing persons.
Oh, really? Okay. Like who?
My wife.
All right. Fine.
She's missing.
Yeah, well,
we don't know that she's
dead.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But think about that. Because it was Texas, and if someone's in your house illegally, you can pretty much do whatever you want to them. So that's how he got off, because the murder had to happen to his friend.
Just the way they broke it down.
Had to happen in his house. But all you had to do, and God, that breaks my heart. When I saw a documentary where they asked that cop, they go, can you 100% prove this wasn't self-defense? And the guy just looks at him like, no.
Nope.
Yeah.
So he'll get off for this too, because you have nothing that actually puts him there being the person that killed her. You definitely have him being the person who was there, found her body, and told police that she was there.
Yeah, but you know who you think anyone on that jury hasn't seen?
Yes. Tons of people have it.
Really?
That's the sad thing too.
Tons of people have it.
It's so sad that people don't have cable.
Right? That's the real crime here, right?
That's all they have to do is find.
That's the true
12
crime.
people who haven't gotten an HBO Go password.
That is the
12
true
people
crime.
with poor parents.
I'll give out my password. You can have it.
All right, Dan, do we have one last story?
We do. There's enough to infer from this that it just made me laugh.
Okay.
I'm going to read the headline. Why not?
Let's do it.
Florida sex party house dubbed the Sausage Castle destroyed by fire.
Good.
It's our old
What
buddy
did
from
that
Lebanon.
smell like? The sausage castle's on fire.
You're Abe Furman.
And they say
The Sausage Castle.
And they say dubbed, which means there's someone else trying to get people to call it by the right name.
Right.
But everybody else is like, that's a Sausage Castle.
Yeah.
1520 McClure Street. No, the sausage.
Sent in by Stephanie Aiken at Steph Run Jacks. I don't know what that is. Runs all caps.
She's a jogger.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Stephanie.
She's aching for some sausage.
She used hashtag don't know.
Aching
I
for
doubt
some
it.
sausage over at the castle.
Part of me hopes that she read this and said to anyone that in her personal life, it was like, I knew that place was that.
Or maybe to no one in particular, out
Yes.
loud, like in the supermarket.
To her toast.
Yeah.
I knew it.
I knew it. St. Cloud, Florida. The notorious former nuisance sex party house dubbed the, and the only Sausage Castle, but the isn't in quotes. So it's
So
kind of
just-
like Eagles.
let's go to
There's
Sausage
no
Castle.
the. It's
Scorpions.
just-
Remember when you went to the
That's right.
Scorpions concert with Dave Anthony? I went with Dave Anthony to the Scorpions concert.
And you
I'm
called
like-
it the Scorpion.
And someone reprimanded me and said it's just Scorpions.
It's just
Wow.
Scorpions.
I was like,
Germans don't use articles.
pretty sure we're talking about
I have
the
to
same
stop
thing.
myself from correcting people every time they say the Eagles. It's just Eagles.
All right.
It's just Eagles.
Talking about the Philadelphia football team or the band?
Just Eagles.
They're never going to get popular if you keep calling them the wrong name.
Yeah, that's right.
True. That's
But
very
so
true.
this is called the Sausage Castle.
No,
so it's,
just Sausage Castle.
Sorry, Sausage Castle, and it's a sex party house. But if it's a Sausage Castle, it's a gay male sex party house.
Or
Yeah.
maybe just too much sausage.
Or maybe it's just the architecture has a kind of sausage
there you
look.
go.
Two
a lot
turrets.
of colonnades.
And a bunch of people fucking there, too.
Yeah, why not?
It just so happens.
It smells like sausage.
The former nuisance party house dubbed Sausage Castle burned to the ground in St. Cloud Wednesday morning, and officials have called the cause suspicious. Oh, shit. The fire was reported early Wednesday at the property of the 3800 block of Hickory Tree Street. In case anybody wants to do a walking tour of these stories.
It was the neighbors. I bet you anything it was the fucking
I've
neighbors.
had it.
Right?
Yeah.
Donna, I've had it.
Where are you going with the long matches?
Call him.
Yeah. And you know that Mike, as Donna yelled, set that fire with fireplace foot-long matches.
I'll get a Duraflame and set this whole thing off.
That's right.
You know my ability to call the cops on a party. You know that. I've made that very clear before. In
Jason
this
is happy to create offenses.
9:30. Call them up. You know, I smell weed. I think I heard a rape. I'll say whatever
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes to get you out there to shut this shit down.
We had to do that in high school. My sister and I called the cops on our own party. Because,
And it had gotten too big?
It had gotten so big that we went to the Catholic high school in town, but kids from both the other public high schools were showing up, and it was like at one point we looked at each other across the living room like,
Those
what
fucking
the fuck?
atheists.
Who are these
And I
people?
just went upstairs like, there's a terrible party happening up at, and then
Oh, I love it.
When the atheists show up,
Yeah.
that's when you get...
we don't want those heathens at our
anything
party.
can happen then. Firefighters were able to put out the fire, but the house was a complete loss. No information was released on why investigators have dubbed the blaze suspicious.
27 round beds burnt to a crisp.
Was it a complete loss or was it
I
a
know.
complete win? I mean,
Everyone's happy. One guy, it's just tears
Yeah.
rolling down his face.
Wouldn't it be great if the Waterbeds put the fire out?
The second they burst, it was all over.
Like, we're good, guys.
Don't worry
It's
about
own
it.
sprinkler system. I told you.
When's the last time you laid down on a waterbed?
7th grade.
yeah.
Seriously.
Our friend Josh.
When was the last time?
I would have to say when I was like 8 years old, my Aunt Ginny and Uncle Brandy had their master bedroom
which
was straight out of like,
Which is the man?
Or was it a same-sex marriage?
No,
and you
it
had
was
to call one of them uncle.
Brandy was the man. They had,
Was that his name or was that his drink?
and his favorite song.
Yeah.
They had oil velvet paintings of Elvis in their bedroom.
Yeah, they did.
It was like, my sister and I always laugh about it because I was like, if there was any time in any place where a child should have been molested, it was in that bedroom.
in that
where
bed.
we were constantly like kicking it in bathing suits on a waterbed and nothing ever happened to us.
Waterbeds.
Just watching TV,
Those
watching
sheets
Clint
were
Eastwood movies.
filthy, I bet.
Oh, yes.
Disgusting.
And I remember being a kid being like, it was always so hard to get out of a water. You rolled out of a waterbed, and the railings were just pure wood, no cushion, right?
Yes.
They were the hardest
Clunk.
things.
You'd
Right.
clunk
Back
right
of your
out of this.
knees, just face.
You always keep your head up so nothing hit you in the face.
Turns out that's what's sexy.
That is what's sexy.
like getting out of a pool is easier.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great? Might not be even worth the time, but if we could pull the prank on one of our like comic friends that we get their hotel room in some random place to have a waterbed in it when they go into the hotel room and it's just a waterbed.
Complicated.
And tell the club not to, or the hotel that they can't move. rooms.
Refuse. Make them stay in that room.
the only
I would
place.
just love that
It'll
prank.
take some money, but that would
Would
be
it
great.
keep you up at night, or would it be? Were they as
can't imagine
relaxing
anything
as
worse.
they were
No.
sold?
It'd be
Yeah.
horrible,
Sleep on
right?
It would be bad.
I
I
get
think.
nauseous.
You'd get
Yeah.
all like you wouldn't be able to adjust ever.
Your
I
feet
think.
are like 3 feet higher than your head.
Their butts like near the bottom of the. Terrible.
yeah.
Horrible.
No information was released on why they dubbed it suspicious, the burn that is. Sausage Castle is well known in St. Cloud as a place where people would gather for wild sex parties and shoot guns in the front yard. Guys, you fuck whoever you want, you shoot guns in the front yard at this house.
But what if I want to shoot in the backyard?
No,
Can I do?
backyard, you do that at your own house.
No, our neighbor gets real pissed. Marty will call the cops.
I'm gonna just shoot on the side of the house.
No,
gotta go front.
You got-
Front across the road.
The house was the creation, which makes it feel like Devil in the White City to me, of Mike Busey.
Sausage. Mike
Yes.
Sausage.
Mike Busey, a social media sensation who carved out 5 acres of St. Cloud swampland and turned it into a party house. Mike Busey is the nephew of actor Gary Busey.
I was gonna joke and say it
I
was
know
his
you
son.
were. That's why I rolled through so we could get to the truth.
Just to call him a social media sensation makes me hate everything about him. But he
Yeah.
can be a
Social
great
media.
guy.
How proud is Gary of Mike?
I
I
want
don't
to
know that
see
Gary's aware of Mike.
or anything.
Yeah, you could have stopped at aware.
I wonder how big Mike's teeth are. I would love to see if he is a true Busey or if he's like
Go ahead,
related
try
by
and shoot my teeth out.
on the mother's side.
Can I shoot it out in the backyard?
No, you gotta go front
Why
yard.
do I have to keep
Front.
telling people?
It has to be front.
God, I put it on social media. I am a sensation. How are people not reading this?
The house has been vacant for about 6 months, which that's just a sad Tom Waits song. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Those are the stories, guys.
I love it. Those are great
Holy
stories.
Christ.
Well, before we
Sausage
go,
Palace.
Sausage Palace. Now, I know we said we have this voicemail, but we have a very special voicemail from Javier Bardem, and I'm glad that he's calling us, and I'm glad he still
Yeah,
wants
I'm
to
interested
share
to hear what he
stuff
has
with
to
us.
say.
Let's take a listen.
This message is for the Sklar brothers. This is Javier Bardem, and I'm calling you because I have something that I want to give to you. As you know, I'm going through a divorce right now, and it's taking up a lot of my time. Between that and all of my various acting endeavors, I do not have time to pursue other enterprising ideas that I have. And as you know, I'm very entrepreneurial, and I have an idea that I think you will enjoy, and I'm going to give it to you, and you can do with it what you want. It is a popcorn that you can make on your stovetop, but the popcorn is already inside of this, like a picture, like a little pie crust container, like maybe it's made of foil, or it's some kind of disposable cheap tin, and then it's covered up. It has a handle that comes out, and so it almost looks like a pan, and you put it directly onto your stovetop, and instantly it has all the oil and the corn that's ready for popping, and it's inside of this, and you call it Quickie Pop. That's the title that I like the most, Quickie Pop. The pop reference the popcorn, and the quickie is because it's so fast. This is something for you to consider, and I don't need any royalties or licensing or anything. I just know that both of you are always looking for new entrepreneurial opportunities, and I don't have the time to pursue this right now. But it's a stovetop popcorn that you can make very fast, and it's called Quickie Pop. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
I love that he calls you guys, but do you have the heart to tell him?
No, and with a guy like that,
fair
that
enough.
just tells you where Hollywood is. You don't tell him.
No.
Right.
He tells
No
you.
way.
He tells you, and then you have to like somehow make the idea not work and blame it on something else.
I mean, imagine if you were the person that had to deliver that bad news. Then you're fired.
Yep.
Your brother's everybody's fired. Imagine, because the passion that
Yeah.
he put
I
into
just
not
have
that.
so much passion.
He blows out the lock in your door with like an
Cattle prod?
He
an air
friendos
thing.
your whole family. He's just.
It's a murdering machine.
You don't want that.
Speaking of murder, he is a murdering machine.
That's
He
right.
can only be that guy from now on for me.
He's so good.
So good. And you guys are so good. Thank you guys for joining us on the show.
Absolutely. It was so
Thanks for
fun.
having us.
I mean this when Karen, we've known you for a super long time. We're so happy for you. I mean, you've had all this great success writing, but this is really awesome to see a huge audience get behind you. To know what
too,
we already
Georgia.
know. Georgia,
I'm gonna
too.
give it to Georgia.
Well, Georgia, we met at Meltdown, and we loved hanging out
Yeah.
with you. And I'm so happy that you guys found each other because now everyone knows what we already know, which is you guys are superstars. So
Let it take you to the sausage palace in the sky.
Oh my God. What if we got our own?
You guys got to make your own sausage palace. 27 Waterbeds. My favorite Katherine Heigl movie.
And you know
27 Waterbeds.
Shoot in the back. Shoot in the backyard.
Yes.
And at their sausage palace, you can shoot in the backyard.
Yes.
Amen. Guys, check our website, superscholars.com, to find out where we're performing in March. We're going to be in Cleveland at Hilarities, in Portland with Dan Van Kirk. He's going to be with us
That'll be
at
fun.
Helium in Portland. That's the last weekend. And then we're all going to be at Moon Tower. We're going to do a live Dumb People Town at Moon Tower. You guys do it?
Yes, we will be there.
Okay, so we're hanging. We're hanging.
We'll hang out.
Totally.
Do a
Super
hometown.
fun.
Maybe you guys can come and join us on that. Even
Yeah,
if maybe
and
they
you
can live.
guys have hometown murders.
Yeah, just share with us.
Yes.
We might have to cross over like Iverson. We'll see. Or like John Edwards. That's more of a reference that you would understand.
Yeah,
Crossing over
that's
like
true.
John Edwards. All right, guys. With Sklar Brothers, he's Dan Van Kirk. Karen, Georgia, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you guys next week. Yep.
Dum 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 dum.